Hello and welcome to the latest pre-season episode of the FPL Affairs podcast, the podcast that lays bare our innermost FPL desires in the build-up that climaxes on the opening day of the 25-26 season. I've been really excited about making this video. It is the admin team's very first initial drafts, all made in the first couple of days after the game was released. Now, I could explain how I'm feeling about it, but I've got 11 drafts to get through. So before I get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for all our content, and ring the bell in there to be notified each time we release a new video. Anyway, enough of my small talk. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Brahma. Kayo Saka. That is a diamond of a goal.
Welcome everybody from me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs Magpie, bringing to you on behalf of the admin team our very first drafts for this season's FPL. All these drafts were kindly sent in to me by my admin colleagues. Unfortunately, none of them were brave enough to come on to justify their decisions as well as provide their opinions on mine. Also included on each slide, we'll look at each admin members in turn. On with their draft will feature where they finished last season, their overall rank, how many seasons they've played, as well as their average rank over those seasons. Also excited to share their brand new individual logos, as we all decided to go with an animal theme. Anyway, I'm starting to speak like a robot, so let's get started. Admin team's first drafts. Peekaboo, shock horror. All shared. So, the admin team's first drafts with a brand new synchronized set of personalized logos, which we, well, mostly I, Magpie, am here solo to share the first draft now that the game is live. I'll leave it up to you as to whose draft you feel is best and what your reason is. Make sure you leave it in the comments below the video after I go through. If you find this video useful, don't forget to click the like and subscribe to our channel. Anyway, the admin team, we have FPL Affairs Cow, an Arsenal fan, Jack Asprey. FPL Affairs Dove, Mohammed, a this season Liverpool fan. FPL Affairs Firefly, Mr. Mick Shannon. FPL Affairs Hippo, our resident Stoke fan, Mr. Kieran Ball. Kristen Balls himself. Martin Murray is our FPL Affairs hot dog. As you can probably guess, he's a Liverpool fan. Big boss man and group founder Lewis Greening is our FPL Affairs Lion. I'm the Magpie. Andrew Farnaby is FPL Affairs Peacock. Dave Paxton, our FPL Affairs Paxo Rooster. Mr. Differential King, Barry Stokes, is our FPL Affairs Swan. And last but by no means least, Mr. Paul Allnut, the FPL Affairs Weasel. That's who we are. Let's get moving on. We are going to start with the FPL Affairs Cow draft. Last season, he finished just inside 1.5 million, just under 1.487. He's played for 3 seasons and his average rank is 2.5 million. You'll also notice on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got the league codes for this season's FPL Affairs leagues, both the classic version and the head-to-head. Anyway, Jack's draft, reading through it, he's got Verbruggen in goal, Sanchez on the bench, so 9.5 million on the goalkeepers. We'll come back to that. He started off with a 4-4-2 defense of Nori, Wan-Bissaka, Kirkez, Udogi, and Reinildo. He's got in midfield starting Kudus, Wirtz, Salah, and Rice, with Sunderland's Adingra on the bench. Up front, Isak captain, João Pedro second striker, and his third striker is Pirro of Leeds United. Now, thinking about the personnel and the balance of the funds, investment in the goalkeepers, I think lots of people are going to go either a 5 mil and a non-playing 4 mil because none have been established, or potentially two 4.5s. But Jack's gone that extra $500,000 by going premium, sub premium, the sort of mid-priced wise of 5 million with Sanchez, but benched him in the opening game for Bruggen in goal of Brighton. Brighton's fixtures aren't too bad to start off with, but still 9.5 million is, some would argue, that's too much on the goalkeeper pairing. Looking at the defence, he's gone one very budget, two premiums in Aït-Nouri and Kirkez. Wan-Bissaka's got a good fixture and Udogi's got a good fixture, both of those 4.5. So I like how Jack's covered each price point in the defence. What my concern is that in this first draft, there's a lot of emphasis on attacking fullbacks and not necessarily so much consideration for one of this season's changes, the defensive contributions, DEFCON, CBIT, which, if you watch our forthcoming FPL Affairs Idiot's Guide to the season's changes, that will go into the defensive contributions in a lot more detail, but it's basically where defenders, if they make in a game a minimum of 10 combined clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles, they get 2 points if they make a minimum of 10 of those by the end of their period on the pitch, so to speak. Anyway, I'm going off the point, away from Jack's draft. Midfield, each price point's covered for sure. You've got most expensive premium in Salah. Next price bracket is around the 8.5, 9 million ones. He's gone with Wirtz for that, so that price point's covered. Two 6.5s and 5.5 defensive midfielder who should get in Adingra, who should get the odd attacking contribution, but is probably more in there for the DEFCON points. Up front, each price point is covered. Second most expensive in Isak. The mid price points, there are lots of attackers in and around the 7.5, 8 mark. And João Pedro covers that price point. My concern with him is whether people are blinded by his performance at the Club World Cup and possibly expect him to be more nailed than he actually is. Personally, I'm erring on the side of caution, and with them also signing Delap, I wonder what the odds are that João Pedro possibly starts the first game, is blanking, and gets taken off just before the hour mark with Delap replacing him. So therefore, you've got a 1-pointer from him, and then what happens if Delap gets a return? You could end up having Delap starting the second game, and João Pedro's price drops, and loads of people are flooding him out. He is, though, however, at the moment, the, I think, most popular forward in the game. So overall, looking at Jack's squad, I'd say that generally price points are all covered throughout. So he's got that spread, which is positive. Some good players in there. lots of proven players. Only Wirtz is, and a couple of on the bench are not Premier League proven. But then there are quite a few that have had transfers that we're not entirely sure on their minutes situation. But yes, a good start, chat. And what should I give for a rating of 10 out of 10? I'm actually feeling 7.5, I think. Right, let's move on to the next one. Mohamed, FPL Affairs Dove. Last season, Mohamed finished 1.2 million. He's played 8 seasons with an average rank of 1.1 million. He's also starting with a 4-4-2 in his initial draft. He's all brave to triple up with Spurs was the first thing that stands out to me. Second, then a triple up with Liverpool, so heavily reliant on those. Double up on Chelsea, so without breaking it up, and if you've watched our series of readings so far this pre-season, taken from Matt Whelan's FPL Obsessed Tips and Tricks, he's very much one at the start to avoid tripling up until we know where roughly each team is playing, who's the established starters, the 90 minutes men, and also what form they're on, because there's only so much we can get from pre-season, what with managers tinkering their starting 11s and formations and so forth. Anyway, reading out Mohamed's team, he's gone for Sanchez and Kelleher, so 9.5 million pairing of goalkeepers. Kelleher, I think, is the most popular goalkeeper, having moved from Liverpool. My worry about him personally is with Brentford having lost their manager and albeit more attacking players, how they're going to fare in different aspects. So I'm a little bit surprised as to how he's the most popular goalkeeper at the moment. Sanchez is understandable. Chelsea have got some good opening fixtures. In defence, Mohamed has gone for a strong backline in terms of finances and price points, with 3 starting 6 million defenders, Aït-Nouri, Cucurella and Frimpong. Udogie at 4.5 and Esteve on the bench, Burnley at 4 million, I think he is. So first port of call with that, all price points covered. So he could move to any other 6 mil premiums quite easily without having to make multiple changes. Those would also, if he felt he wanted, he could drop one of them down quite easily to a 5.5 or a 5 million perhaps. I think one of the things that also stands out to me about the defence, as well as having 3 6 millions, is that there's no Nottingham Forest coverage in defence, and they've got some solid fixtures, and their defenders were very good because of the way Forest play defensively on the counter attack, and therefore don't have much of the ball. Their defenders, notably their centre backs in Murillo and Milenkovic, fared, if DEFCON was applicable last season, they were really high up in rankings for how much more points they'd gain. So that's one thing I think Mohamed would need to look at, is to consider getting a Nottingham Forest defender in. Udogie, we're not sure, is nailed. Aït-Nouri, if this DEFCON thing wasn't a thing, if it hadn't come in, Aït-Nouri, really exciting pick. His attack, if you move in his attacking threat, which he had for Wolves, for a top side such as Man City, he'd be flying. My concerns about him are, one, what's his minute situation going to be like? Is he going to play some of the fixtures and Guardiola play left back the others? Guardiola himself, I prefer slightly, because he's likely the left centre back when Aït-Nouri is playing, when when Aït-Nouri's not, there's the chance of Guardiola being the one that's playing at left back. So there's the minutes risk with him, although from a creative point of view, he can easily get, Aït-Nouri could easily get double digits, no problem with an attacking return and a clean sheet on the game he plays. Cucurella, good attacking potential, more goal scoring at the back end of last season, but I think I heard earlier that Chelsea have either signed or in the possibly signing another left back. How that impacts him, we shall have to wait and see. Midfield, tried and tested Salah, most expensive then, again, next price point of Verts at 8.5, Rodgers next at 7, Kudus at 6.5, and Caicedo at 5.5. Caicedo currently sitting on the bench. So all price points covered again for that midfield and bench. I generally like the picks for those. Kudus, we'll have to wait and see from pre-season about his minutes and how it fits in with Thomas Frank's system and what system he is going to play at Spurs. Verts, for me, seeing him in a lot of drafts, I'm a bit nervy personally, but that's my personal perspective. And Mohammed, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not surprised he's gone for the triple up. So good, all price points covered there, and price points covered almost up front. Bowen 8 million, Solanke 7.5, and Igor Jesus of Forest. I'm not entirely sure on his price point, to be fair. Possibly the cheaper end. Overall, looking at this, I said all price points are covered in goal, in defence, in midfield. My slight worry about the forward line is if Haaland, Isak, Watkins, Gyökeres go big to start off, then that's 2 transfers straight off. And with the rolling up to 5 transfers this season, taking hits are going to be actually more risque this season. So that would be, you'd have to see through game weeks 1 and 2 with this. As for predicting if he plans a bench boost, I think with a couple of those benches, I do not think so. I would think it would be going straight in as it is. From that, I think I will go with a rating of, for me, and the reason it's 6.5 is because I'm not too sure about having 2 triple ups to start off with in both Liverpool and Spurs. There's a lot of home fixtures throughout that squad. So game week 2, you're going to have a lot of players away from home. There's some that are not tested in the Premier League before, whether that those from Liverpool or those that have been signed by promoted clubs. And I'm also not too sure that there's enough investment or consideration for the defensive contributions aspect. Anyway, let's moving on from him. Next up, our league champion, our FPL Affairs Admin League champion from last season, FPL Affairs Firefly. His overall rank was 40,219. He's played 12 seasons, and his average rank is just under 1.8 million. Slightly different presented, and he's gone a lot more budget with the goalkeepers. He selected Kelleher, like Mohammed did, but he's gone for a arguably non-playing 4 mil backup. So there's the reliance on the Brentford keeper, which personally I'm not so sure on, because although, and I suspect this is mixed knowledge on how good a keeper Kelleher is with him coming from Liverpool, and he does deserve a starting berth to be somewhere where he's number one. The uncertainty, though, is how Brentford are going to be fair with a new manager, and with a number of key players having left. So that will be one to keep an eye out for. Back five, again, like with the others, I like how all price points are covered. Only one 6 million premium in Frimpong. He's gone for double Forest defence. Aina and Nico Williams, both at 5 million, and two 4.5s in Konsa and Gehi. First thoughts are, in addition to the price points balance covered, that is taken into consideration the Nottingham Forest and Defcon points. Gehi, Crystal Palace have got some nice fixtures after the Chelsea one. So definitely opportunities for clean sheets and Defcon points. Although Gehi isn't necessarily the one who benefited the most from those last season. In 0.5, it was Chris Richards, or for that extra $500,000, Lacroix was more attacking threat and had a lot more clearances, blocks, and so on. Conte Villa, I think he's going to be in a lot of drafts because of Villa have got the best opening 8 fixtures, and they're quite capable of keeping several clean sheets, and he's a mainstay in that defence. So overall, a good balance. Moving on to the midfield. I like this midfield in terms of there's a lot of investment in there, but there's also a couple of differentials. I think third one to go with Salah and Wirtz, but Mick's also gone with Cole Palmer. So he's got the two most expensive midfielders, then Wirtz from the price bracket just below that, then Damsgaard from Brentford at 6 million, and Munetsi from Wolves at 5.5. So I think some Defcon consideration with Damsgaard and Munetsi, although for where they are ranked in that, you'll need to view our upcoming Idiot's Guide to this season's changes. Again, the uncertainty of Brentford. So I think Mick's been quite brave going with double Brentford in this squad. But then by having heavy hitters at the beginning, he can quite easily drop down from Palmer and Wirtz to Rodgers at 7 million. There's some other 7.5s floating around. You've also got the Manchester United double of Cunha and Burmo that are around that mark. Palmer could drop down to Saka or Bruno Fernandes. He's at those points. Munetsi, there's lots of 5.5s out there with Defcon opportunities, and Damsgaard would be possibly, if Mick can find $500,000 somewhere, to move him up to a 6.5, because there's a lot of 6.5s that I think are up there for set pieces and Defcon points. And then front three of Strand Larsen at 6.5 of Wolves and two 7.5s in João Pedro and Solanke. So what stands out to me overall in those last three is, again, like I think I said with the FPL Affairs Cow draft, is that there's no premium forward price point covered. So anyone really priced 8.5 and above, if any of them start the season running, it'll be a few changes required. I would probably say the easiest or quickest way would be to drop Palmer down and to boost up one of the forwards, so a double move, or it will be a Wirtz down and one of the forwards to go up. That's what my theory would be if any of the forwards go big. Also note, actually, good opening start, but 11 of your 15 are playing at home in the first week. So game week 2 might be a bit rough. I would like to see who your starting bench would be. My guess would be Bettinelli, Gay, Munetzi. Oh, tough one, actually, the 5th spot. Possibly Konza. Not sure you'd go 4-4-2 and bench both Wolves assets. But again, like with the others, defensively, all price points covered just about, apart from that 5.5. But with 2 5s, just find 500,000 to go up. But the money with high price points in those middle 3 of the midfield, I think it would be one of those that would be needed to be sacrificed to boost up the front line if any of them go hit. So I think with Mick there, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Again, if anyone disagrees with my ratings, it's just my own thoughts, then please add to the comments below. Next one is Kieran Bull, FPL Affairs Hippo. His overall rank last season was just under 75k after spending a lot, just outside the top 10k. The last 6 weeks were dire, and he will say that I broke his crystal ball and laid a curse on him. But anyway, he's been playing for 11 seasons, and his average rank is 1.05 million. Okay, new entry in the choice of goalkeepers with Matt Sells as his starting goalkeeper, and he's got Verbruggen on the bench. Back 5, starting with Cucurella, Wan-Bissaka, and Frimpong, with on the bench Alex Moreno of Villa and Esteve of Burnley. Quite a consistent thing, which I'm pleased to see that, again, yet another one of our admin members has got all price points covered with the defence. He's got 2 premiums in Cucurella and Frimpong, then no 5s, actually. He's dropped straight down then to 4.5s in Wan-Bissaka, Moreno, and then finishing with the step on 4 million. I would think from there, if any of the 5s or 5.5s were to do well, then it would be having to drop down one of those. But I think the other thing that stands out actually is that Kieran's gone for generally attacking fullbacks in defence with no centre backs. So I think what's a big lacking there would be a centre back from Nottingham Forest or Everton or Crystal Palace, which were, due to the nature of how they play and with clearances, they I would say would need to be a consideration. But price points covered. Moving on to the midfield, Mo Salah, Maddison is, I haven't actually checked how much Maddison is. I suspect around about the 7.5 million mark, but don't hold me to that. Eze 7 or 7.5 as well. Elliot, I'm not sure. Maybe around the 6 million, and a Dinger at 5.5. Bit of a balanced and definitely differential midfield from there. Maddison and Eze could easily, from tweaking, go down to 6.5s or up slightly to push towards that 8 or 8.5s. Not out of reach, particularly when discussing the forward line, which I'll come on to in a moment. Adingra, though, is, I see, it's your def con 5.5 midfielder. Forward line, Isak premium, then the next bracket down of Jared Bowen at 8 million with a good away fixture at Sunderland. I think I've actually noticed you triple captain Bowen. I'll be interested to see whether that active chip stands. And another João Pedro owner which, as I said, I've got reservations on his starting minutes from a personal perspective. But positives, I'd say, quite a heavy front line. So if any of the budget ones do well to start, then you can easily drop down from one of those. Isak's uncertainty of where he's going to play, regarding club, that is, which you'll have to wait and see, but he can easily be dropped down. And other money, perhaps tweaked and balanced in midfield. But I would say Kieran's at the moment, I'd probably give actually because you've got premiums in each aspect of the field, really. So I'm going to go potentially with an 8 out of 10 for that, because as I said, there's premiums throughout. My main feedback tips would be to review the defence and bring in at least a couple of centre backs. Obvious one would be switching Frimpong to Van Dijk, because Van Dijk will definitely be nailed for the 90. Frimpong will have to wait and see how will he settle into the Premier League and how will his minutes be managed against Connor Bradley.
Oh, opening few drafts. Brain fried. I need a rest. I really should. But I might plough on. Join me in part 2 for the rest of them.